What happened to the unforgettable faces of the outlaw Josey Wales nearly 50 years after they rode across one of Hollywood's greatest westerns, which cast members are still with us in 2026 and which beloved stars have sadly passed into history? For many fans, the film was more than a revenge story. It was a powerful tale of loss, survival, and second chances. But the real-life journeys of its cast proved just as remarkable, filled with major successes, personal struggles, and heartbreaking farewells. Today, we'll revisit the stars of the outlaw Josey Wales then and now, reveal who is still alive, and uncover what became of the actors behind some of the film's most unforgettable characters. Captain Fletcher, the stern and deeply conflicted officer who helped shape the moral tension of the outlaw, Josey Wales, was portrayed by John Vernon. Born on February 24, 1932 in Zaner, Saskatchewan, Canada, Vernon was 44 years old when the film was released in 1976. Although Captain Fletcher was not the film's central character, he played a vital role in exploring its themes of duty, guilt, and survival. A man shaped by war and difficult compromises, Fletcher stands in sharp contrast to Josey Wales. While Wales represents the personal cost of violence and loss, Fletcher reflects the burden of authority and the consequences of choices made in turbulent times. His pursuit of Josey is driven as much by obligation as by conviction, making him far more complex than a typical Western antagonist. John Vernon brought remarkable depth to the role through his commanding presence, distinctive deep voice, and controlled intensity. Throughout his career, he became one of Hollywood's most recognizable authority figures, appearing in memorable productions such as Dirty Harry National Lampoon's Animal House, and later lending his voice to Batman the Animated Series. John Vernon passed away in 2005 at the age of 72 following complications related to heart surgery. Decades later, Captain Fletcher remains one of the film's most haunting figures, a man caught between responsibility, regret, and the harsh realities of survival. Josey Wales, the grieving Missouri farmer who becomes an outlaw after tragedy destroys his family, was portrayed by Clint Eastwood. Born on May 31, 1930 in San Francisco, California, Eastwood was 46 years old when the outlaw Josey Wales premiered in 1976. What makes Josey Wales such a memorable character is that he was never written as a traditional Western hero. He is a man scarred by loss, driven by revenge, and shaped by the brutality of the Civil War. Yet beneath his hardened exterior lies a quiet sense of loyalty, compassion, and humanity. As the story unfolds, Josey gradually transforms from a fugitive consumed by anger into a reluctant protector who forms an unconventional family from society's outcasts and survivors. Eastwood delivered one of the finest performances of his career through restraint rather than grand speeches. His piercing stare, measured silence, and controlled intensity gave the character extraordinary depth, making every glance and pause carry emotional weight. In addition to starring in the film, Eastwood also directed it, further establishing himself as one of the most influential storytellers in the history of the American Western. In the decades that followed, he earned Academy Awards for directing acclaimed films such as Unforgiven and $1 Million Baby. As of 2026, Clint Eastwood is 96 years old, and Josey Wales remains one of his most enduring creations, a wounded soul searching for peace in a violent and unforgiving world. Captain Terrell, the ruthless Union officer, whose relentless pursuit fuels much of the conflict in The Outlaw, Josey Wales, was portrayed by Bill McKinney. Born on September 12, 1931 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, McKinney was 44 years old when the film was released in 1976. Terrell stands as one of the film's most chilling figures because he represents more than a single villain. He embodies the lingering bitterness of the Civil War and the destructive power of vengeance carried out under the banner of authority. Unlike outlaws who operate beyond the law, Terrell uses military power to justify his actions, blurring the line between justice and revenge. His pursuit of Josey Wales is relentless, turning a personal feud into a symbol of a nation still divided by violence and hatred. Bill McKinney brought an unsettling intensity to the role. With his piercing gaze, hard-edged delivery, and intimidating screen presence, he made Terrell feel dangerous in a way that was both believable and deeply disturbing. Audiences had already seen McKinney's talent for portraying memorable antagonists in films such as Deliverance, and this performance further cemented that reputation. He would later appear in several Clint Eastwood projects, including The Gauntlet and Any Which Way You Can. Bill McKinney passed away in 2011 at the age of 80. Nearly 5 decades after the film's release, Captain Terrell remains one of the darkest and most unforgettable shadows cast across the story of Josey Wales. Lone Waddy, the wise Cherokee elder whose quiet humor and hard-earned wisdom bring warmth to the outlaw. Josey Wales was portrayed by Chief Dan George. Born on July 24, 1899 in British Columbia, Canada, he was 76 years old when the film was released in 1976. What makes Lone Waddy so memorable is the humanity he brings to a story filled with violence and loss. Having endured betrayal, displacement, and hardship, he views the world with a mixture of sadness, resilience, and gentle humor. His conversations with Josey Wales provide some of the film's most heartfelt and unforgettable moments. Chief Dan George played the role with remarkable dignity and authenticity, giving the character a quiet, spiritual presence that resonated deeply with audiences. Before this film, he earned widespread acclaim and an Academy Award nomination for Little Big Man. Beyond acting, he was also a respected poet, author, and advocate for indigenous rights. Chief Dan George passed away in 1981 at the age of 82. Decades later, Lone Waddy remains one of the film's most beloved characters, quiet, thoughtful, and rich with wisdom, earned through a lifetime of experience. Little Moonlight, the young Navajo woman whose quiet presence brings warmth and humanity to the outlaw. Josey Wales was portrayed by Geraldine Keams. Born on August 19, 1951, in Flagstaff, Arizona, she was just 24 years old when the film was released in 1976. Although she is not one of the story's most outspoken characters, Little Moonlight plays an important role in reflecting the resilience of people forced to endure hardship and uncertainty. In a world marked by violence, displacement, and loss, she represents hope, compassion, and the determination to keep moving forward. Her presence helps balance the film's darker themes and adds emotional depth to the growing community that forms around Josey Wales. Geraldine Keams brought remarkable grace and authenticity to the role, allowing the character's strength to emerge through quiet endurance rather than dramatic speeches. Following the film, she continued acting in projects such as The Car and Northern Exposure, while also dedicating herself to cultural storytelling and Native American education. As of 2026, Geraldine Keams is 74 years old. Nearly 50 years later, Little Moonlight remains one of the film's most gentle and heartfelt figures, remembered for the quiet strength she brought to the journey. Jamie, the young companion whose innocence highlights the human cost of violence throughout the outlaw, Josey Wales was portrayed by Sam Bottoms. Born on October 17, 1955 in Santa Barbara, California, Bottoms was only 20 years old when the film was released in 1976. What makes Jamie such a memorable character is the sense of hope and vulnerability he brings to a world scarred by war and revenge. Surrounded by hardened survivors, he represents youth loyalty and the possibility of a better future. His presence reminds viewers of what is lost when conflict consumes entire generations. Sam Bottoms delivered the role with sincerity and natural charm, giving Jamie a quiet, emotional depth that made his journey especially moving. Audiences connected with the character because he felt genuine, an ordinary young man trying to find his place in extraordinary circumstances. A few years later, Bottoms appeared in another legendary film, Apocalypse Now, further securing his place in cinema history. Sadly, Sam Bottoms passed away in 2008 at the age of 53 after battling brain cancer. Today, Jamie remains one of the film's most poignant characters, a symbol of youth and innocence amid the hardships of the American frontier. Travis Cobb, one of the rugged frontier figures, who helps bring authenticity to the outlaw Josey Wales, was portrayed by Sheb Wooley. Born on April 10, 1921 in Erick, Oklahoma, Wooley was 55 years old when the film was released in 1976. What makes Cobb memorable is the sense that he belongs naturally in the world of the American West. Wooley understood that a convincing Western character was more than a costume or a six-shooter. It was a way of speaking, moving, and carrying oneself. His performance brought an easy realism to the film, reflecting the toughness and independence of people shaped by hard lives on the frontier. Long before appearing in The Outlaw, Josey Wales, Wooley had already built a remarkable career. Many fans remember him as Pete Nolan on the popular television series Rawhide, while others knew him from his unexpected novelty, music hit The Purple People Eater, which became a nationwide sensation in 1958. Sheb Wooley passed away in 2003 at the age of 82 after battling leukemia. Today, Travis Cobb remains a small but memorable part of the film's rich Western tapestry, brought to life by one of the genre's most familiar faces. The carpetbagger, one of the film's most unusual and opportunistic figures, was portrayed by Woodrow Parfrey. Born on October 5, 1922 in New York City, Parfrey was 53 years old when The Outlaw Josey Wales was released in 1976. Though his role is relatively brief, the carpetbagger leaves a lasting impression because he represents the greed, uncertainty, and social upheaval that often follow war. Rather than relying on physical intimidation, the character survives through opportunism and self-interest, reflecting a different kind of threat in the post-Civil War landscape. Woodrow Parfrey had a remarkable gift for playing eccentric and unsettling characters. With his distinctive voice, nervous energy, and memorable screen presence, he could make even a small role stand out. Audiences may also recognize him from films such as Planet of the Apes and Dirty Harry, where he brought the same unique intensity to his performances. Parfrey passed away in 1984 at the age of 61 following a heart attack. Today, the carpetbagger remains a fascinating part of the film's colorful cast, brought to life by one of Hollywood's most distinctive character actors. 10 Bears, the proud Comanche chief, whose wisdom and dignity bring one of the film's most powerful moments, was portrayed by Will Sampson. Born on September 27, 1933 in Okmulgee County, Oklahoma, Sampson was 42 years old when The Outlaw Josey Wales was released in 1976. 10 Bears stands out because he offers a path beyond violence in a story driven by revenge and conflict. Rather than speaking through threats or force, he leads with wisdom, experience, and a deep understanding of the suffering that war leaves behind. His memorable encounter with Josey Wales feels less like a confrontation and more like two wounded worlds deciding whether peace is still possible. Standing well over 6 feet tall, Will Sampson brought remarkable authority and quiet strength to the role. Audiences had already taken notice of him through his unforgettable performance as Chief Bromden in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, one of the most acclaimed films of the 1970s. Will Sampson passed away in 1987 at the age of 53, following complications related to a heart-lung transplant. Today, 10 Bears remains one of the most respected and unforgettable figures in the film, a symbol of wisdom, dignity, and reconciliation. Rose, a character whose brief appearance adds warmth and humanity to The Outlaw Josey Wales, was portrayed by Joyce Jameson. Born on September 26, 1932 in Chicago, Illinois, Jameson was 43 years old when the film was released in 1976. Although Rose appears only for a short time, Joyce Jameson had a remarkable ability to make even small roles feel meaningful. She brought warmth, humor, and a touch of melancholy to the character, creating the impression of a woman with a rich life beyond the scenes in which she appeared. In a film filled with hardship and conflict, her presence adds a welcome sense of compassion and everyday humanity. Throughout her career, Jameson became known for her distinctive voice comedic talent and memorable appearances in both film and television. Whether in major productions or supporting roles, she consistently left a lasting impression on audiences. Sadly, Joyce Jameson passed away in 1987 at the age of 54. Though Rose is not one of the film's largest roles, the character remains a memorable part of its world thanks to the warmth, charm, and authenticity that Jameson brought to the screen.
Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video, please support us by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot to us.